So, do we have Second Amendment rights or not? How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a Fort Worth, Texas woman who is facing eviction after she used a firearm to defend her home against a home invader. Now, there's a lot we got to talk about here, so let's go back to the very beginning. So, a woman is in a subsidized apartment complex with her 4 children, all girls, ranging in age from 9 to 2 years old, little girls. A 14-year-old boy was trying to break into her 8-year-old daughter's bedroom window. Now, she sees what's happening, and she uses her weapon to shoot the person, and she winds up deleting them. Now, prayers out to the woman who had to do that and her family for facing that kind of drama, and prayers out to the young man's family for losing their boy. But hey, if you don't want to get deleted, I suggest not breaking into someone's house. I suggest that. Now, this was the second time that this woman's home had been targeted by home invaders within 24 hours. The second time. She did everything right. She has her firearm. She used it to defend her home, herself, her children against a home invader. She saw him trying to break into the actual house through the window. She did everything right, but now she's facing eviction. And the reason that she was given is because she can't have a gun on the premises. Now, I didn't know that an apartment complex could say if you can have guns or not. Your Second Amendment rights are your Second Amendment rights. If you're allowed to have a gun in Texas, if you're allowed to carry a gun in Texas, then how can an apartment complex tell you that you can't have it? And I did a little bit of reading on this. There's no law saying you can't have a gun in an apartment. There's no sign that says this is a gun-free zone. So how are they going to try to evict her because she had a gun on the premises? Now, some may say, hey, ABL, maybe it was in the contract that she signed to actually live in the apartment complex. Well, let's just say it was. I don't know if it was or if it wasn't. Let's just say it was. This would be, in my humble opinion, and to all the legal eagles, please correct me or send me in the right direction, that would be an unenforceable part of the contract. You can't tell me I can't have a gun if it's legal. Like, what are we talking about? That'd be the equivalent of saying this apartment is white only or black only or whatever only. You can't enforce that. If, let's say, I'm a white person in a quote unquote white only apartment, and then I bring in a black roommate or something like that, or a black person lives there for a month while they're trying to get on their feet, you can't evict me for having a black person living there, even if it is in the contract, because that'd be unenforceable. You're violating my civil rights. Now, before I go any further, let's get into the actual news clip. If you want to see the clip in full, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
A Fort Worth woman who shot and killed a teenager she says was breaking into her rental home told us today how the incident has changed her life. Police have not filed charges for the shooting, and they plan to submit the case for a grand jury review.
Now, let's pause right here. So there's no charges. She did what she did. She's saying she did it. There's evidence she did it. There's evidence of the attempted break-in and no charges. So if there's no charges from the police, then why am I being evicted? You see, let's keep on going.
Wallace talked exclusively with Fox 4's Sean Rabb, who joins us now live. Sean.
Leah Wallace bought a gun to protect herself and her family, she tells me, after a rash of break-ins in her apartment. Those happened while she and her family were not at home. But on December 14th, twice that day, while she was home with her kids, someone tried to get in.
I was cleaning my living room, sweeping my floor, and I heard her window start going back up. So I went and I looked in the hallway, and I could see him standing at the window lifting it up, and I just shot.
Gunshots that killed 14-year-old Devin Baker at the bedroom window of Aaliyah Wallace's 8-year-old daughter early morning, December 14th.
It's bothering me that he was a kid.
The incident happened not long after police left Wallace's home after responding to her 911 call about someone trying to break into her duplex.
Let's pause right here. Now, people are going to say, well, hey, just call the police. They're going to help you. Well, the police were just there And of course, they're going to bring the cars. They might even have the cars with the lights on it. So people who are in your apartment complex, they watch all this. They see all this. And a lot of times they will study your pattern to know when you're going to be home, when you're not going to be home, when you're going to be vulnerable, when you're not going to be vulnerable. They study your pattern. So they're going to see the police there. But that was no deterrent for people to try to come back to the house and break in. So what do? The police just came. They're not going to be able to just magically show up instantly when you call them and you see the guy at the window lifting it up. What are you going to do? You got 4 kids, girls between the ages of 9 and 2. She did the exact right thing here, but she's being punished as a result.
So I called them at 1:22 a.m. We talked for like 30 minutes. They did a report, took pictures of everything, and then they left.
I believe there were reports that you had been burglarized or attempted burglaries before?
Yes, I have like 3 or 4 police reports before this night.
So what has happened since this incident?
The apartment called and told me that I was not supposed to have a gun at all, even though I kept calling them and telling them somebody was breaking in. They told me I could not have a gun and that I have 30 days to vacate.
And how does that make you feel?
Feel like I'm back at square one. I've been there for 6 years, so now I don't know what to do.
This case is going to the grand jury. It's a referral, as they call it, and they're going to let citizens decide. What do you want people to know about you, Aaliyah Wallace?
That I was only protecting my kids. I have 4 daughters. It's just me and my 4 daughters that stay there. I just was protecting my daughters.
How do you feel about what happened?
I'm devastated that he was 14. I hate that. I literally do, and I'm so sorry. But at that point, I had to think about it.
Man, you don't got to be sorry. I mean, I understand you saying, how you feel. And I don't want to invalidate her feelings. But she did nothing wrong. Literally nothing wrong, okay? She called the police. You got police reports. You got all kind of stuff. Now the guy's breaking into your home through your 8-year-old daughter's bedroom window. What do you do in that situation? Just let it happen, no gun, and then he goes in there and you have no idea what his intention is. It's Christmas time. Is he just trying to burglarize, steal gifts, steal money? Is he going to attack you? Is he going to attack your daughters? As a mother, I would presume your instinct, your main focus, your goal is to protect your children, your small children at that.
My babies. I didn't know he was 14 when he was on the other side of that window. All I knew that somebody could come in here and hurt me or my kids.
Now, I'm going to tell you what, when I was 14, I was the same size I am right now at about to be 40 years old. Literally. I was maybe about a couple of inches shorter. I was 6 foot tall and 240 pounds at age 14. Now, if I was at that time, at that age, to break into somebody's house, I would expect that they are going to have something from you on the other side. Okay. Now, I never was involved in crime as a kid. I was always a nerd trying to read, trying to do nerdy stuff. If I was to get involved in crime, then I have to understand that my life could be in danger. And that's my fault. If I was to do it age 14 to no 14, it'd be my fault.
That's it.
So now Wallace lived in federally subsidized housing. We're seeking clarity on whether she can be evicted. She's concerned that if she is convicted, it would be difficult to find new housing for her and her 4 girls. We called the apartment complex today. The manager there told us to call the corporate office. We did so. The corporate office said, get your information from the local apartment complex. No answers for our...
So, yeah, that's going to be an issue. I don't think they're going to be able to actually evict her. She's saying that they're telling her that they're going to start the eviction process. I don't see how it holds up in court, because when you're talking about eviction, it's a court process. So if you're a tenant, you have rights. There's certain things that could trigger an eviction process, but it's still a process. Like, okay, you're not paying your rent, or you in there, you got a meth lab or something crazy like that. Okay, these things can trigger an eviction process, but it's still a process. You still got to go to court. So if there's no criminal penalty here for what she did, then that's going to kick out one potential reason for an eviction. If there's no law, if there's no rule necessarily that says you can't have a gun in subsidized housing, then I don't see where there's any kind of eviction that can happen. So yeah, hopefully She doesn't get evicted. There's a GoFundMe. I'll link to that in the box if you guys want to contribute. But I don't think she's going to actually be able to be evicted here because she literally did nothing wrong. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that this woman should be evicted from her home because she defended herself against a home invader? Again, I mean, what else can you do? You call on the police, you got police reports. The police had just left, and then right after they leave, here comes a guy trying to break in again. What else are you going to do? You got 4 kids, 9 between ages of 9 and 2. You really don't have any other alternative because the only other thing she could have done would be to try and fight this 14-year-old. And again, when I was 14, I was 6 foot tall, 240 pounds. There's no way that if it was a guy that's my size and my strength back then, there's no way that she could have been able to fight him off just with her bare hands and feet. And why would you do that when you have a great equalizer? And again, if people don't want their 14-year-old to get deleted, well, have them not break into houses. Tell them that, hey, if you break into a house, there could be somebody on the other end with something that could put you 6 feet deep, that put you in the dirt. It is what it is. She did nothing wrong. There's no reason to be apologetic. I understand her feelings. I don't want to invalidate her feelings, but she literally did nothing wrong. This is what you're actually supposed to do when you're talking about self-defense, which is why there are no criminal charges pending at all. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.